Hello, my name is Amara Wynn, and welcome to the writer series Between the Margins, where I interview new authors, indie authors, authors that have books that are already published, and everything in between, where we can learn more about their books themselves and the process of getting their first or second or third book published, because being an indie author can be very difficult. So I just wanted to take some time to actually learn more about these authors, give them a chance to talk about it, but also learn some stuff myself. I am a brand new indie author. My first book is called More Than I Expected. It can be found on all major book platforms for paperback. I'm pretty sure you can order it like on Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, all those places. But it's also on Kindle Unlimited. And the Kindle, I'm thinking about putting it over on the Nook, which I just found out during today's interview that I could do. So I would love for you to check it out. It is a romantic comedy that deals with a lot of real world issues such as stress and anxiety and feeling unloved and unworthy. It's got a lot of information about friendships and learning to love yourself. I think it's funny, but it does deal with some hard-hitting issues that I think are still worth the read. So I would love for you guys to check it out. But today we're going to be meeting another indie author, and her name is Rei Marie. So we're going to go ahead and go to that interview now. Hello, my name is Amara Wynn, and I am here today with another indie author. Her name is Rei Marie. Hello.
Hello.
I'm excited to be interviewing you today, especially since I've read your book, which is even more exciting. I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to read a little bit about you so we can know who you are. You are Rei Marie and an author with autism. You're on the autism spectrum disorder
Yes.
and you write with a unique range of romance, adventure, and self-empowerment novels. You captivate readers with engaging stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. And your passion for storytelling empowers readers to explore new worlds, experience thrilling adventures, and discover the inner strength that they have. And I can say from reading your book, Refreshing, that pretty much describes everything to a T.
Oh,
So,
good.
so
That
do us
was
a
my
favor.
aim, so yeah.
Yay! Well, it worked. You did a great job. So give us a moment to tell us about your newest book. I know that you've written several,
Yeah.
too. And today we're going to kind of concentrate on Refreshing because A, it's the one that I read, and B, it's your newest one. But if you would kind of give us a synopsis of what it's about, that would be great.
So refreshing is it starts out as kind of a woman having some decisions to be made and decides to go on a girls' trip. Just kind of a fun escape for a little bit. And while she's in Costa Rica with her two best friends, just kind of realizes some things that has happened in her life and things that she never really addressed and should have by that point in her life, and just really decides to dive in deep with the vacation and just embrace it. Um, and it's a romance novel, but it's more about the connections with her friends and that importance in her life.
I love that. I did the same thing. I think it's important that we also recognize that friendships are just as important as the true love.
Yeah.
So you do a really great job blending the travel, the romance part, the friendship, and all of that self-discovery. When you were first writing this story, her name is Reyna. It's Reyna. Am
Yeah.
I pronouncing that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When you were writing Reyna's story, what was that emotional journey that you wanted readers to actually walk away with? Like, what were you thinking when they walk away from this? What do I hope they take?
I to get out there and to really hone in on who you are, um, aside from everything around you, from your spouse, from your kids. Just not everybody nowadays gets to figure out who they are
So
on
true.
their own, and who you are as a person is different. At least it is for me. I'm a different person around my friends. I feel like I can truly be who I am.
I think
No
we're all a
holds
little bit
barred.
that way, right? Like we have our professional person, and then
Yes,
we have our love person that we're with, and then
right.
our closest friends that we can just be exactly who we want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. So when and I read it, I really enjoyed it. And I noticed that I was reading some of the reviews, and I'm not the only one who thought this. Very rarely do we actually read about this slow process of falling out of love. And you portrayed it very honestly. So, what made you want to explore that side of relationship as opposed to like this tropey, which I love, happily ever after? Like you really went deep.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to see that it happens every day and it's okay and you can still come out the other side of it and be even happier than you were before.
I love that. You really did kind of stick to true life. Like you didn't just it doesn't seem like when you're reading it that you're reading, just your everyday novel. You feel like you're reading something realistic that someone is going through. So I
Right.
you captured
Yeah.
it beautifully.
Well, good, good.
But now Reyna, and I love Reyna, she does struggle
Yeah.
quite a bit when she's dealing with that idea of feeling like maybe she's not worthy of love. And I know that resonated with me, and I'm sure it probably had with you as well, as much as other readers. What was that theme when you were exploring that? What was the point? Did you emerge? How do I word this? I know it's in my head. Was that theme of self-doubt and feeling unworthy something that you chose to go with, and or did you start off with her being like the strong woman, but then she kind of naturally grew into this self-doubt?
She always kind of started out as the unknown, especially because as a young kid with autism, like growing up in the 80s, autism wasn't really a well-known how do you deal with it. Um, so, and it was the same for me, just really having to mask to just get through life.
Right.
And when you have to deal with that, you don't get to dive into who you are. You don't get to figure out what you want to do, who you want to be. Um, and I hope that that really resonates with a lot of people because I feel like, especially for people on the autism spectrum, we're put into a box because people don't know how to deal with us. And thankfully, it's a lot easier nowadays. I feel like people understand it more, and because they have more people in their life that are somewhere on the autism spectrum, that they're getting a glimpse of how and what and like all of
Yeah.
the different issues that they run into and
I think the word isn't as scary as it used to be.
exactly. Exactly.
So when you were creating Reyna, you knew from the beginning that she was going to have a lot of issues. It wasn't
Yeah.
something that she grew into. You just knew.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was something I definitely wanted people, especially on the autism spectrum, but people outside of that world to really try and get to understand their perspective.
That's what I think I love the most about this book is that it kind if you've never dealt with someone who is on the spectrum, or if you don't know anybody, it does kind of give you like an outside preview, but on the inside, like I can now see this person, but actually hear their inner thoughts as well. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was really it's very informative.
Good, good.
So you obviously love Costa Rica.
Yes, very much so.
It almost felt like it was like Costa Rica was its own character in the book. Like it was
That,
this.
yeah, that's one thing I really love doing with both of my books. Like, nature is its own character.
So your first book was about Appalachian.
Yeah, it's a woman hiking the Appalachian Trail.
I hear a lot of things about that. I mean, I'm in the South, so I'm like in the tail end of the mountains, but I
Yeah.
hear if you hear your name, you shouldn't respond.
No, the only issue you have to worry about is if you hear banjos.
Oh, no. So okay, so how did your relationship with Costa Rica or even the Appalachian Trail, how did that influence the way that you wrote that as a setting?
So I have hiked huge sections of the Appalachian Trail and I've been to Costa Rica a couple times. And nature in general, I that is my happy place.
Okay,
So part of it was I really wanted that to be its own character because
it was.
I feel like people need to get back to nature. People need to get back to experiencing nature um, before everything gets bulldozed.
I agree. I was just having this conversation with someone this morning. But it seems like your characters, especially Reyna, did like is the environment of like Costa Rica, does that contribute a lot to that transformation that she makes?
Yeah. Yeah, it gave her a new perspective and the fact that um you don't have to pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the nicest things was I think a lot of and maybe this is just me, so I'm not speaking for all authors or speaking about all authors, but I think sometimes it's really easy for us to just kind of have a non-existent place. That way we don't have to worry about trying to get landmarks correct or and I very rarely do I see anymore someone picking an actual place and doing like the Appalachian Trail is real, Costa Rica is real, all the places that she's in are real. You really did make it a huge part of her story, and I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
appreciated that because I've
Good.
never been, but I kind of felt like I had.
Well, good. Hopefully you have it on your bucket list now.
I've been a lot of places. Costa Rica has never even been on my thought process
Yeah.
until I read it and I was like, okay, let me just figure out if this is the kind of place I should visit. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous.
So amazing. And I also noticed in your book that you did some Spanish.
Yes.
Brave, very brave. I also know that other readers mentioned the idea of Spanish and how it felt very immersive, and I agree. It was very natural. It felt intentional. It to me, it never felt distracting. So, how did you decide, like when and how much Spanish you should incorporate that would actually enhance the story as opposed to hinder it from
Right.
potential readers?
I went back and forth with that for years. Um, and I kept adding and then subtracting and then like no. And then I would go back in and just add a little bit of English context and it was hard to find that balance. But I had several other people read it that don't know Spanish.
That's
Um,
smart.
and they were like, "Yeah, I get it." I was like, "Okay, okay."
That's probably
But
a
the
fear
first
for
draft
people.
was too much.
I think that'd
So
be a
I had
fear if
to
you're thinking
hone it
about
back
putting a
a little
different language in there, that
bit. Yeah, yeah.
immediate fear. I can't read this.
Well, and that's, I mean, I know I've with some of the other authors that we've done the reviews, I I'll put the little synopsis that I have on my website, but then I'll add on. I was like, it is bilingual, but there's plenty of English context.
But don't panic.
I've been told by many people you can keep up. It's okay.
I kept up just fine. So I think
Good.
anybody who's looking to read it can, if you don't know Spanish, it's okay. You can still read it and it's still
Yeah.
beautifully done. But I wondered if that was a hindrance. I wasn't sure if that was something that took you a minute to figure out. I'm glad that you took a minute because if you had put too much, I'm not so sure that I would have.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a hard balance to find because I wanted that true immersive, and you can't go to Costa Rica without having the language there.
It's like those
So
movies
I
where it's set in
wanted at least
England.
a sprinkling in there.
Yeah, I always think it's like when I don't know if I'm old, but that movie, like Robin Hood, Prince of, where he's got a straight up
Yeah.
Southern accent, but they're all
Yeah.
supposed to be in England. It kind of takes you out. So you did just an amount to be able
Oh,
to
good.
keep you
Good.
immersive.
Good.
Now, you said that I read it, and you've told us now that you are on the autism spectrum disorder. You've been very open about it. You've not tried to hide it. How does that actually shape your storytelling, especially when it comes to things like the emotional depth or the sensory details or even the character's introspection? How does ASD actually strengthen that?
Um, for me, I think because I visualize so deeply with everything that I do, um, it's easier for me to get it out on paper. Because I know a lot of people when they write about scenery and stuff like that, they go more either vague or just like a hint of the scenery or the background. And I think because nature and everything that I've written so far is somewhere in nature, it's so important to me to have because you get that context of the depth in how they're feeling and why they're reacting a certain way or different stuff like that. It gives me like the hyper focus in certain things. And when I'm writing, I just get it out, get it all out, and I'll sort it later.
You just
Or
stick
I'll
it
have
all out
somebody
there.
else. Yeah, like chapter by chapter, I'll have somebody, I'm like, okay, is this too much? Or does this make sense?
Is it hard to self-edit?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine if you're really looking to create that ambiance of the environment, that there's a fine line between too much world building or info dumping
Yeah,
and keeping it where it's still knowledgeable and immersive, but not overwhelming.
right, right.
That seems, this is why I think most people just pick fictional places or never
Which
say, which,
honestly, I could definitely see that being an easier route to go.
but it's not as unique. So I mean, this is the first book I've read that was set in Costa Rica, and I read a lot. I, it's unique. You did it, the
Okay.
whole premise is unique. I mean, it's not, but it also is
Yeah.
because of who Reyna is and because of the environment. But we know that Reyna is not perfect, and we know that she makes messy choices. And she hesitates and she has self-doubt, which we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
How do you balance that creation of a lovable character without actually smoothing over the flaws?
Oh gosh. I don't really know. I try to embrace like everybody's got flaws. Nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
Um, I try to keep it down to three or four things that aren't like a constant nagging issue throughout the book that
I may have done
pop
that.
up here and there, but aren't like a steady theme throughout the book. It's like if just like in life, like you're not gonna stay friends or at least stay close friends with somebody that annoys you all the time.
That's true. That's true. Like, why would I want to read her if she's constantly annoying,
Exactly, exactly.
dwelling on her flaws 24/7?
Right.
But it's hard to create a lovable character, but you did. Did you find that easy?
Um,
Or was your own self-doubt in
well,
creating
there,
her
yeah,
creeping
that
up?
always creeps in there. Um, I honestly, I don't know how much of that I really edited. I just kind of put out what came to mind. Um, and I did go back and self-edit a couple times before I let anybody read it. Honestly, I wrote this book 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago,
Oh, wow.
and nobody read it until I had to have a hysterectomy a few years ago, and my best friend came and helped out, and she read it without my knowing.
I would have a heart
She
attack.
she found this whole file cabinet all of all my stories and
Oh, I would have a heart attack.
read a couple of them, and I mean, she's such a dear friend. She was probably one of maybe two people in my life that I would not have strangled. Because it is very personal. I mean, they're all
I
very
hope that she
cathartic
sees this
stories.
and is like, that's me, the one that didn't get strangled.
But she was really like, you should publish this. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's the hardest part, I think, is letting somebody else see your work.
Yeah, yeah,
And it is good to have people who are behind you going, no, this is worth it. Just
yeah.
give it a shot.
When she's seen, like I've stayed at her house several times over the years, and she sees that, like I journal every morning, every evening, and I'm just writing random stories. Anytime I wake up in the middle of the night, I've got a story in my head, whatever dream I just had, I'm writing it down.
That's
Um,
dedication.
and she saw me doing that. She's like, "What are you doing?" And like, well, this I'm just writing a story.
That's you sounded so sweet and innocent when you said that. I'm just writing a story. You almost sound like a
I've been
Disney
pretty
princess.
dark and crazy and wild and but yeah, she read a few of my stories and she's like, you need to start with these two. So that's where I started.
It's so good to have supportive people like that. I wish everybody had that.
Yeah, I am very, very blessed to have the friends that I have.
This is one of those books, and I'm guessing it probably stuck with her, which is why she was like, you should get this published, work on it. I know that the book stuck with me, but I imagine that there are going to be people out there who are probably stuck in their own life who could relate to this book. When when you're writing it and and or when they're reading it and you close the book, what is that one thing that you hope they believe about themselves? Like when they go, okay, book closed. Do you want them to think, okay, there is hope? Or do you want them to say it's okay to just be who you are? Like what is that big message? I know we kind of mentioned earlier that you want them to feel like they have hope, but what is the ultimate thing that you want people to take away from it? Is it I want them to buy my next book?
No, I hope it's more of like a connection of different views and maybe some inward reflection. Like, am I doing everything that I want to do and like that I can control? And that's the
That
big
is
key is like
that really
not
is kind of the
everybody
heart of the book, isn't
control.
it?
Yeah.
Is that also the heart of your tell me about your other book.
Yeah, Love Appalachian Trail it starts out similar. A woman just everything's been turned upside down. Discovers that her husband's been cheating on her, so she
Scandalous.
yeah. Um, so she decides to hike the Appalachian Trail and just let him cool off and try to figure out whether or not it's something that they can work through or if it's time for her to go and find her own path. Um,
So a lot of your books seem to sort of be about that self-discovery. Is this something that you've been dealing with yourself?
yeah. These two are definitely deep into that trope. Some of my other books that haven't been published yet are like I've got a mystery one, I've got a thriller, and it kind of across the rainbow
Do
of
you find that
different books.
hard to think about? I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, if you're writing romance over here, are you kind of stressed about moving into a different genre?
Not really, because they're all stories that I've written over the years, and I mean, I feel like I'm constantly writing, but these two books happen to be romance because those were the ones that my friend suggested that I start with, and I think she suggested that partly because romance is a big to do right now. I think she was hoping that I could jump on that bandwagon or whatever.
Same.
Um, but no, I don't know. I go with the flow and
I think
my
it's
brain
scary.
is chaotic.
I think because I mean I really never thought I would write a romance. I kind of started off doing like a mystery thriller, but somehow ended up over here. And I worry like if I'm branding myself, which is something that we as indie authors have to do, that it's going to be hard to transition. But then I guess there is that idea that maybe if somebody else found the other book, that they would find these as well. What is the
Right,
hardest part of
right.
self-publishing for you?
Figuring out how the process works. Um, there's a lot of hiccups along the way that I know I didn't do everything right. I wish I had gotten my own ISBN number, instead of just like, okay, like all the different places that you can publish through, like, oh, you want us to just give you one
Give you a
for you.
free, yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, and just trying to figure it all out. Like,
I think that's the hardest part, really.
yeah, it's
Don't
a
you?
roller coaster because
Because if you
there's
go
so
to
many.
Books a Million or Barnes and Noble or any, they all now have different ISBN numbers
Yeah,
because they offered them for free, but it can be expensive to buy your own ISBN number.
yeah. And that was, in the end, I ended up just going with the different ISBN numbers because of how expensive it was. And I
Yes.
was like, this is just supposed to be a hobby. It's not supposed to cost me a bunch of money. Like,
I
I
thought I
want to
was
make
gonna
money,
make a
not
lot of
spend it
money.
all.
I always keep thinking like I shouldn't have to spend money to make money. I mean, people, I should be making money, and I
No,
no. But
no.
good.
And for me, it's because I am definitely not one who has extra to spend. So that was why I went that route. But I do feel like going forward, I am gonna invest in myself.
You have to invest in yourself. And I think you're talented enough that you can do that and take it a really long way. I really, and I'm going to be reading your other book. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
how are you struggling with the social media game? They don't tell you when you're
Oh gosh.
doing the whole, hey, I'm going to self-publish a book. Now you're your own marketing team, your own publishing team. You got to be an expert on social media. Are you struggling with that? Are you, I know
Yeah.
I am.
Canva is my friend.
Love Canva.
And also I follow, I'm probably gonna butcher on Instagram, Miranda Book Marketing, I think is.
Yes, I see.
She has some stuff that's real quick to do, real easy, but definitely fun to do. So I'm hoping that it grasps more people
It's
doing
so
it that
hard.
way.
I just thought
It's
I
so
could write a
hard.
book and just be like, here it is, and somebody
I
would want to
know.
read
It's
it.
like what Angels in the Outfield. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
Build it and they will come. You're like,
Yes.
that's exactly how I felt about my book. And it was like,
Not the
my
case at
friend
all.
told me it should be good.
I mean, like, how do I go back and be like, my best friend read it and loved it? You
Yeah,
should definitely. This is obviously the best book you're ever gonna read.
exactly.
But I'm gonna put on the screen your Instagram, and I'll put your website on the screen. But where can we find your book?
So it's available on Amazon through Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Nook, and Ingram, which I think that's more for like the bookstores, but individuals can buy through Ingram, but I know it's a little more expensive.
It is. Why is their printing more expensive than everybody else?
I don't know. And I did a whole like graph because I'm a nerd with something like as far as like how much we make for the ebooks it was like you make the most through Barnes and Noble Nook, and then for the prints I make the most through Amazon, which I was surprised. I was surprised
I'm
at
actually
that.
kind of surprised by that too. I've not done the Nook. I think I'm going to, but I just haven't. I wasn't actually sure if I could, given that it's on Kindle Unlimited.
No, you can do both. I have mine on all of them.
That's good to know. Now, you said that you have um, a website.
Yes.
Let's hear
It's
it.
uh, Rei minus Marie.
Minus.
Yeah. Or it's dash, whatever.
I think it just
I
depends on
never
how
know what
old
it's
you are.
called.
Because to me, it's a hyphen.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
the young people, it's a dash. I can't figure out. I kind of like the minus because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, and I mean, that's why I started doing it that way because it was like I said it one way, and because they're a different generation, they thought I was talking about something else. I'm like, no, that's not what I said.
I actually think that's genius. Because every time I have to like give out something, I'll say, just depending on how old you are, either hyphen or dash, I'm just going to go minus symbol.
Yeah,
That's
it
so
works.
smart.
It works.
All right, give me one tip for a new indie authors.
Oh gosh. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself and keep trucking. Keep moving forward.
The hardest part. Let me just say, as someone who has read your book, you have a lot of talent. I know that you're going to actually pick up traction. I believe it with all that I am because it was so good and it stayed with me. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to continue to do and telling these stories about women who are just figuring out their way. And I really look forward to reading like a mystery. I
Thank
think
you.
I have a feeling you're going to kill it at that. But you have a lot of talent, and I'm so glad that I got to know you and to be able to talk to you today, but actually just get to experience your book and just learn about things that I had never even thought about and being so brave and not being afraid to talk about the diagnosis. I know how that can be hard, but you're killing it and you're a
Thank
prime
you.
example of doing what you need to do regardless of whatever happens. So I'm just proud to know you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I look forward to reading your next book. I absolutely loved yours as well.
I'm working on it and I'm already mad, so
Oh,
I don't know. I think I can't be the only one that my characters do whatever they want to do, not what I
no.
want them to do.
Yeah.
I need him to come and rein back in, but he's just going to it may take me like 3 years before I finish it if I don't quit fighting with my characters and just let them be who they want to be.
You
Well,
should you should go just go far on the deep end and
and then
just
come back.
yeah.
That's
And then
exactly what I should
maybe
do.
like start from the first three chapters and go the other direction and see which way you like it
That's
better. And
actually a
save them
really
as
good.
two different books.
So what you need to do is start giving out tips and lessons because that's actually a really good idea. Because right now I'm on the first couple of chapters and I am stuck. And the first one was so easy to write. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe if I just didn't write a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, and I have a lot of people ask me about what sequels or not sequels. I'm like, no, these are different characters.
Yeah.
And I do think I am gonna write the sequel to Refreshing.
Oh, you
Um,
should.
but none of my other books are anywhere coinciding.
I think standalones are sometimes we don't have very many of those anymore.
I know.
I
And I
should
love the series, but I also like, especially for helping people get reviews and stuff like that, I don't want to start on book four
I get
because
it.
that's the one that you need reviews for.
I get it. I get it.
Like, I need context. I need the foundation.
See, this is,
But
and people don't
it's
talk
hard
about
to
any
get
of this
through.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't want to keep you much longer. You have been a pleasure. I will make sure that everyone knows who you're, where they can find your book and all of the links. Thank you so much
Oh, thank
for
you. I
talking to
really
me today.
appreciate
It's
you.
been a pleasure, and I'm going to go out there and promote your book.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. You take care.
Bye.